Our top story tonight, WhatsApp has filed a lawsuit in the Delhi High Court against the central government's new digital rules that come into effect from today, saying that these rules would completely break privacy protection. Now, WhatsApp said that nearly 400 million users in India, and these users, if you do in fact trace the origin of chats, the end-to-end encryption would be broken for these users. In response to WhatsApp's legal challenge on grounds of user privacy, the government today has said that it is committed to the right to privacy, but it's not absolute.
The gloves appear to be finally off. The widely popular chat app WhatsApp has sued the Indian government, the first social media giant to do so, arguing that the new IT rules, which come into force from today, could break its privacy protections. In its petition before the Delhi High Court, WhatsApp, which has over 400 million users in India, asked for declaring the rule to identify the first originator of the information as unconstitutional. In a statement, WhatsApp said, requiring messaging apps to trace chats is the equivalent of asking us to keep a fingerprint of every single message sent on WhatsApp. This would break end-to-end encryption and fundamentally undermines people's right to privacy. We have consistently joined civil society and experts around the world in opposing requirements that would violate the privacy of our users. In the meantime, we will continue to engage with the Government of India on practical solutions aimed at keeping people safe.
WhatsApp has moved Delhi High Court challenging the intermediary guidelines, calling it to be unconstitutional. WhatsApp, in his petition before the Delhi High Court, pleads the rule to identify the first originator of an information is against the fundamental right to privacy.
The Government of India responds to WhatsApp's petition and has said that the right to privacy is not absolute. The centre has further said that the traceability guidelines are a reasonable restriction and is not contrary to the right to privacy. Foolhardy to doubt the objective behind intermediary guidelines which aim to protect law and order. Taking the government to court is a major step for a social media giant like WhatsApp, who have been often criticised for giving into government overreach with an eye on India's blooming digital market. WhatsApp's petition comes at a time of rising tensions between social media firms and the Indian government. Just 2 days ago, Delhi police had visited the offices of Twitter after it had labelled tweets by BJP leaders as manipulated content. With Arvind Gunesekar, Akhilesh Sharma, Rubina Mungia for NDTV.
And my colleague Akhilesh Sharma, tracking the very latest, joins us. Akhilesh, the IT Ministry has asked social media platforms to reply ASAP.
Absolutely, Rishika. In fact, yesterday was the deadline which was fixed by the IT Ministry in February this year, when they were given 3 months' time to abide by all the new IT rules, which is called Digital Ethics Code Rules 2021, and the deadline ended yesterday. And today, the IT Ministry has, sent notices to all the significant social media intermediaries, and they have been given a timeline to reply the request by the IT Ministry, and it says that if you have a registered user base of more than 5 million in India, that means you qualify to be a significant social media intermediary. And now you have to provide the following details. There's a pro forma which has been given by the IT Ministry to all these social media platforms. It says name of the application and the website and the service following, and also of the details of Chief Compliance Officer and contact details, nodal contact person and contact details, resident grievance officer and the contact details, and the physical contact address in India. And please confirm and share your response ASAP, as soon as possible, and preferably today itself. So the wordings of the letter is very clear that the government now wants to tighten the hold on the social media, and saying that you have to follow law of the land, and if you don't, then that means you will lose your protection, and any Indian citizen can sue you, and you will be treated like any other ordinary citizen.
All right, we'll keep a close watch on all those developments. Appreciate you, Akhilesh, for joining us with the very latest. Let's shift our focus to the other big story we're tracking tonight. At least 2 people have died as Cyclone Yas made landfall today. Predicted first to be a very severe cyclonic storm, the cyclone is now weakening after large-scale damage in several parts of coastal West Bengal and Odisha. However, accurate predictions have gone a long way in saving lives today. Here's a report.
It was nothing like the super cyclone of 1999, nor did it pack the punch of Amphan last May. But Cyclone Yas has hurt, pounding coastal Odisha and Bengal for 3 whole hours, leaving a trail of destruction, claiming 1 life each in both states.
দুর্ভাগ্যবশত একজন মারা গেছেন, সেটাও অ্যাক্সিডেন্টাল ডেথ। সে রিলিফ ক্যাম্পে উঠে এসেছিল, তারপরে মাছে জাল ফেলতে গেছিল। এটা জাল ফেলতে গিয়ে মাছে শুনলাম সে ডুবে গেছে।
Balasore, the landfall site, bore the brunt of deadly winds gusting at 155 kilometers per hour, extremely heavy rain and the sea surge at Bhadrak, Jagat Singhpur, Kendrapada as well. It was the sea surge that also devastated low-lying Bengal. In Digha, East Midnapur, Fraserganj, South 24 Parganas and Hingalganj in the north. There, waters swollen by a lunar high tide swept into hundreds of villages, smashing river embankments, impacting 1 crore people, Mamata Banerjee has said, and the saline water destroying acres of farmland.
Right now situation is quite grim because we are in New Digha, and last year also during the Amphan we were stationed here only, but we didn't see, there was no water, sea water which overflown to this part, and this water level is now increasing.
Kolkata is heaving a collective sigh of relief. Memories of Cyclone Amphan are still very fresh in the minds of the city. Last time, I remember many roads blocked for days because of fallen trees, telephones out of order and no electricity for days on end. The weather forecast was spot on the cyclone's path, its wind speeds, surge and time frame. But there are growing concerns about the increasing frequency of cyclones forming in the Bay of Bengal.
यस, अभी धीरे धीरे वीक हो रहा है। अभी अगले 2 घंटे के अंदर ये वीक होकर एक साइक्लोनिक स्टॉर्म में परिणत हो जाएगा, और इसके बाद आज मध्य रात्र को ये उत्तर उत्तर पश्चिमी दिशा में जाते हुए एक डीप डिप्रेशन में परिणत होगा, और कल सुबह झारखंड के ऊपर ये एक डिप्रेशन में परिणत हो जाएगा।
Cyclone Yas will bring heavy rains to Jharkhand this evening and Thursday, subsequently Bihar. But Yas, named so by Oman and ominously means despair, will have lost its muscle by then. With Manish Kumar in Digha and Saurav Gupta in Kolkata, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Well, let's now get you India's COVID numbers. The average daily cases continue to fall in the country. India's average daily cases is the lowest it's been since the 20th of April. But the worrying story continues to remain the deaths. Deaths averaging above 4,000 for the 10th day in a row. The second wave of COVID has been deadly, with 1 lakh officially reported COVID deaths in the month of May. And these are just the official figures. 1 in 3 overall deaths reported in India was in the month of May. Now, as is the case with the rest of the country, Karnataka's supply of COVID vaccines is nowhere near meeting its total demand. The state is trying to source vaccines directly through global tenders and have had 2 responses so far. Pfizer and Moderna have indicated that they will not supply directly to states, but only to the central government if and when any deal is worked out.
Karnataka currently ranks 9th in terms of the percentage of population given at least 1 COVID vaccine dose. At 14%, that's below the national average. The state is looking to source 2 crore doses through a global tender. 2 companies have responded to Karnataka's tender. Both companies have talked about the supply of the Sputnik vaccine, and they have both asked for 2 extra days to provide technical and financial papers. One company, Bulk MRO Industrial Supply Incorporated from Mumbai, for the regular 2-dose vaccine of Sputnik, and another company, Tulsi Systems of Bengaluru, for Sputnik Light. which would be available only by the end of the year. A Karnataka COVID task force member describes the vaccine shortfall as colossal.
As the population is demanding across for a vaccine, there seems to be a colossal shortage of it, and I think one of the options is to open up all these global vaccine providers to come into India and help at this juncture, because otherwise it's going to be a long haul.
While new case numbers are coming down in the state, largely due to the lockdown, say experts, the Congress, critical of the state's vaccine acquisition policy, has been on the offensive. The party has been asking for permission to procure 100 crores worth of vaccine, but there is no clarity on where they would actually source these vaccines from.
See, central government has to take up this initiative. This is not the state subject. So you please allow us with our MP funds.
Urgency is the key, but the wait for sufficient vaccines continues. With Govindan Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Well, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has also called out the centre to urgently procure enough doses to inoculate people, not just in the national capital, but in other states across the country as well, rather than leaving it to individual states to try and separately negotiate deals with manufacturers.
जब दुनिया के दूसरे देश अपने अपने लोगों को बड़े स्तर पे वैक्सीन लगा रहे थे, हम अपने लोगों की वैक्सीन लगाने की बजाय अपनी वैक्सीन दुनिया के दूसरे देशों को भेज रहे थे। अगर अपने देश के लोगों को सही समय पे वैक्सीन लगा दी जाती तो शायद दूसरी वेव के प्रकोप को काफी कम किया जा सकता था, कई लोगों की जान बचाई जा सकती थी। उन वैक्सीन को छोड़ दीजिए जो केंद्र सरकार ने दिए हैं, उन्हें छोड़ के कोई भी राज्य अपने प्रयासों से किसी भी कंपनी से एक भी एक्स्ट्रा टीके का इंतजाम नहीं कर पाया। वैक्सीन कंपनियों ने साफ साफ कह दिया कि वे राज्य सरकारों से बात नहीं करेंगे, केवल केंद्र सरकार से बात करेंगे।
Now, on the 21st of April this year, the centre announced a new liberal vaccination policy, or a new liberal vaccine policy, wherein states can buy 50% of the stock directly from vaccine makers in the free market. This especially for the 18 to 45 age category. Now, documents show that the centres actually fix specific quotas of how much vaccine the Delhi government, for instance, can purchase from manufacturers for the month of June. So, is this liberal vaccine policy then just a false promise? Arvind's been tracking the details of this story. Arvind Gunasekar joins us live. Arvind, this entirely contradicts the liberalized vaccine policy claim if the government is going to go ahead and set quotas for how much vaccine a state can procure from the free market.
Yeah, Rishika, the government on April 21st had announced this liberalized vaccination policy with effect from May 1st, wherein the state governments can procure vaccines directly from the vaccine manufacturers. In fact, in this particular policy, 50% of the domestic production has to be given to the central government, and the remaining 50% can be procured by the state governments and also the private hospitals directly from the vaccine manufacturers. After this particular policy was notified, several state governments approached the vaccine manufacturers for the direct procurement of vaccines, let it be both Covaxin and also Covishield. And as per the direction from the central government, all the state governments already made an advance payment for the entire purchase order. But what we are being told is that though the state governments made an advance payment for the entire purchase order, they are not getting the vaccine what they had asked for. In fact, what we are being told is that even that the center is taking the call and then distributing the vaccines based on their own allocation formula. Accordingly, we have also accessed two particular letters that have been written by the Union Health Ministry to the Delhi government regarding the supply of Covaxin and also Covishield. These two vaccines, this particular letter pertains to a direct procurement by the Delhi state government. Delhi state government had approached both Serum Institute and also Bharat Biotech for the procurement of vaccine for the age group of 18 to 44 directly. But what we are being told is that as per the centre's direction, only 92,000 Covaxin doses and also almost 3 lakh Covishield doses alone will be provided to the state of Delhi for the month of June. So that's where the state governments are saying that if we are making the payment from our own end and if we are placing the purchase order and if you call it as a liberalized policy, then why are you allocating, why are you intervening, and then why are you doing your own allocation for the state? So this is something many state governments have raised this question, and what we are also being told is that the centre has filed an affidavit before the Kerala High Court detailing this particular process, where they said that this allocation will also be handled by the central government based on the pro rata state-wise population.
All right, Arvind, appreciate you for joining us with the very latest. We will, of course, track this story very closely. On the one hand, the centre's left it to the discretion of the states. On the other hand, the centre, they're trying to also rationalize the quota for each state. Well, shifting focus to the big story we're tracking tonight from Uttar Pradesh. In an incident that an officer has blamed on oversight, a group of villagers were given mixed doses of the COVID-19 vaccine at a government hospital in Uttar Pradesh. Around 20 villagers in the Siddharthnagar district, about 270 kilometers from Lucknow, were given both Covaxin and Covishield. They were given Covishield in the first dose, followed by Covaxin as the second dose. Officials claim that no one has faced any adverse effects so far.
A cocktail of COVID vaccines for this elderly couple and 18 other villagers in UP's Siddharthnagar, who were injected with Covishield in the first week of April and then given Covaxin as their second dose in mid-May. The shocker took place at this primary health center in the largely rural district around 270 kilometers from state capital Lucknow.
20 लोगों को कोविशील्ड पहला डोज दिया गया, बाद में उनको कोवैक्सीन लगा दिया गया। तो ये चूक नहीं है सर?
ये चूक तो है क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का भी कोई मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ की कोई ऐसी गाइडलाइन नहीं है कि कॉकटेल लगे, जिसके लिए हमने इंक्वायरी ऑर्डर की थी और उस रिपोर्ट के आधार पे जिन जिन दोषी लोगों को मैंने उनको स्पष्टीकरण उनसे मांगे हैं.
While the impact of mixing vaccines is still the subject of global research, this official has claimed that none of the villagers have suffered any adverse effects from this so-called oversight. But at least one of the villagers who received the mixed shots said no one from the health department had come to check on them.
वैक्सीन तो वहाँ डॉक्टर ने बताया कि ये तो गलत हो गया, वहाँ लग गया दूसरा सुई. कोई नहीं आया, कोई कर्मचारी नहीं आया, ना सरकारी आया ना गैर सरकारी, कोई कर्मचारी नहीं आया पूछने के लिए.
Last month, 3 elderly women in Western UP's Shamli district were given an anti-rabies shot instead of the COVID vaccine, the UP government acknowledged after a probe. With Salman Amir in Siddharthnagar and Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Now, the Indian Medical Association, after protesting against the remarks made by Yoga Guru Ramdev, has sought legal action for his remarks, questioning the efficacy of allopathy medicines. IMA Uttarakhand has served a 100 crore rupee defamation notice to Ramdev for his alleged remarks against allopathy and allopathic doctors. They've demanded an apology in 15 days, failing which they say that they will demand the compensation. All right, now, although Maharashtra is the state with the highest vaccination in the country, only 3.69% of the people in the state have actually been fully vaccinated so far. Many rural districts have seen less than 3% of people being vaccinated. Insurance cover and other such offers are now being announced to remove vaccine hesitancy.
Anjanwada, a Gram Panchayat in Hingoli, Maharashtra, is trying out incentives to get more people to take the COVID vaccine. It is offering an insurance of 5 lakh rupees from its funds to those who will take the vaccine and COVID test. Only 2.3% of the people here are fully vaccinated.
इसके लिए शासन से एक भी पैसा नहीं लिया जाएगा. ग्राम पंचायत की जो खुद की इनकम होती है, घर टैक्स, पानी टैक्स, इससे आने वाली जो इनकम होती है, उसमें से उस बीमे का प्रीमियम ग्राम पंचायत अदा करेगी.
After the offer, some villagers came forward for a COVID test. They also say they would take the vaccine as well.
हमारे दिल में का जो डर है वो पूरा निकल गया है.
अब आगे आप टीका भी ले लेंगे.
जी बिल्कुल. Similarly, Nitin Pawar, an MLA from Adivasi Bahul Kalwan area in Nashik, has announced that he will give 15 lakh rupees from his fund to Gram Panchayats who are conducting awareness drives, and because of which people are getting fully vaccinated.
उनके मन में अंधश्रद्धा ऐसी है कि वैक्सीन लेने से लोग मरते हैं. तो मैंने उस ग्राम पंचायती के सरपंच जो बॉडी के मेंबर उनको आह्वान किया कि आप लोगों को वैक्सीन करने को बोलिए और मैं शासन की तरफ से जो हमें निधि उपलब्ध होती है मैं वो ग्राम पंचायत को 15 लाख निधि देने की व्यवस्था करूंगा.
In the villages of Ballarpur Tehsil of Chandrapur district, people are not willing to get vaccinated in any case.
आता भीती वाटते जायचं.
असं वाटते की बस लस घेतली का तर माणूस आउट. त्याच्यासाठी म्हणून आपण जे फिटनेस आहे आपल्यापाशी आपण जसं आहोत तसं सेफ्टी घरी.
According to the state government's data on vaccination so far, Maharashtra, with a population of about 12 crore, only 3.7% of the population is fully vaccinated, lower than the national average. With Kanhaiya Khandelwal from Hingoli and Kishore Belsare from Nashik and Pooja Bhardwaj in Mumbai, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.